What's going on, man?
Hey, how's it going? Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. Joined a typical like a gym near my apartment, which I think has been allowing me to work out more. Uh, and also, I'm in the process of kind of doing a little bit of a job search. I'm trying to specifically find like web development front end roles. I'm kind of interested in like zeroing in on specifically that. I think I wouldn't mind working for a different company, maybe a company that would let me do a lot more. Like there's a thing called React.js, which is like a web framework, and I think I would like to sort of specialize and work in that. But yeah, that's what's going on with me.
Would
Yeah.
you stay in San Francisco?
No, part of it too is I would like to move back essentially to like Seattle, Redmond, Washington. Probably not downtown Seattle, but more closer to like the trails and the suburbs of Seattle. There's now like I think there's a train line that will be active soonish or like is partially active that gets you around that area too. So yeah, I want to basically just have closer access to like some better protected hiking trails that hopefully would be like nearer to where I live. If I got a fully remote position, that would enable living where I want, but probably where I would go uh, is like that area.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Some good changes in order then.
Yeah, hopefully, because I think I really associate like the kind of programming that I like to do is building websites and like applications that can be used directly on a website. And I actually find like many other types of programming are like very quickly not satisfying because like on the web you can just see things so quickly, like everything's visual and there's a nice you can always like print out a value or something if you need to, and you can inspect things easily. But then, yeah, other types of programming are very like reading static code and trying to guess what it's going to do and not really having quick ways to test it. So yeah, I would really like to be in a web development role.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Good stuff. I'm happy for you.
Yeah, I'm just starting my search, so it's very like nerve wracking. Like the first few like searches I do, and like finding some decent offers, but like some things that are like I don't know, and if even now I send out with my resume and like you just won't hear back or you'll get like a quick rejection. So it's a very like psychological process.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I hear it's getting harder and harder.
Yeah, I'm wondering like as I get into it, yeah, like I feel it. Yeah, I feel it's like it's pretty more confusing than ever. Hopefully, there's still companies that need people to do something that resembles actual work, uh, and that there's just a lot of noise in the process or something.
Mm-hmm. Well, AI is taking over a lot of those programming jobs.
Yeah, or at least uh, there's like a lot of confusion about like like how much of the hiring process will like an AI reads your resume and just rejects you, or like employers get rid of people thinking AI will work and then it doesn't, and so but there's a lot of people that means like searching for work.
Yeah. Well, at least in Canada, I mean,
Yeah.
unemployment's gone up quite a bit. A lot of jobs have been lost, man. So,
Mm-hmm.
and I kind
Yeah.
of like, I haven't gone through the process, but everybody I'm talking to who's trying to get hired it's a nightmare, and companies are ruthless. You get ghosted all the time. It seems very unprofessional. But in my mind, I
Mm-hmm.
see that as closure in itself, because the company doesn't have the basic courtesy to like say that, hey, we appreciate your time and effort. You're not a right fit, or we pick somebody else. Well, then they just would have been a shitty company to work for in the first place. So there's closure there, at least in my mind. But
Yeah.
people doing it for like a year, it's hard not to take it personally. or to start thinking that you are the issue, that you are not good enough.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like networking is more important than ever. I've never like consciously done that, but I have a lot of friends now that are in various parts of the programming industry. But I can really sense like anytime like a friend shows me like a role, there's like it makes it so much easier to get like referred something than, because maybe like you just get such a better chance of talking to a human if like a friend already works somewhere or something like that.
Of
And
course.
that seems like I think, in the past there was, you could always just like apply directly and have some chance, but these days, yeah, just having like knowing someone that works there seems like pretty critical.
Yeah, I mean, it's just confirms we like what's similar to us, and there's also what I'm not sure what to call it exactly. The saying, though it's
Oh,
not what you
yeah.
know, it's who you know. But
Yeah.
with an adage, I don't know how that's
Like some
called.
kind
But
of like familiarity bias or something. Yeah,
yeah, well,
whatever seems, yeah.
what you
Mhm.
know is important, but it's who you know at the end of the day. It's going to get you the job, unless you're creating your own opportunities. But even then, it's important to have networks.
Yeah.
But I'm not interested in any of that shit. Once I have enough, and I
Yeah,
need
that's
less.
good that it sounds like your things are going well for you. Uh,
Yeah,
yeah, that's nice that it's still smooth. Do you predict do you see a path like through to essentially like retirement age and beyond, like that you feel like you have control
yeah,
over that time range? Yeah, that's good.
yeah. When you have resources, you don't have to worry as much. The So I was saying before, like this is the first time in my life I've actually have time to think and to work on me, not just once a week or once every 2 weeks for the therapist, but like I could work on myself every day.
Mhm.
Gratitude, meditation, mindfulness, exploring different topics by reading, but like reading things I want to read. I moved from self-help books to like a
Right.
fantasy. The book called
Oh
Island
yeah.
was, yeah, Aldous Aldous Huxley. I never say his first name right,
Hmm.
but it was his final book, and it ties into Buddhism and enlightenment and what the
Oh, but it's like
ideal.
so it's a fantasy book, but it touches on those topics.
Yeah, it's like
That's good.
there's the Forbidden Island called Pala, and there it's basically utopia because of some reforms that took place hundreds of years ago, and it's been isolated from the influence of the rest of the world. But there's some developments which I won't talk about. But basically, the main character is just a traumatized journalist with a trauma-ridden upbringing, terrible upbringing, but you know, one where there's like sort of this where his family's brainwashed by religion, and there's abuse, there's a lot of death, and he's exposed to a lot of death where he becomes almost desensitized to it, and he sees the world as ugly. And he goes through this experience. He by being with these people, he starts to see their way of life. And the author is really about like psychedelics, and this, fuck, it was before. I mean, it really took off in North America, like LSD and all that shit. Like I'm just reading near the end of the book, and he's describing like a psychedelic high,
Hmm.
and I've done mushrooms twice, but like this guy like did like the hardcore stuff, and it's fucking just transforming his mind. And I gotta say, it is very therapeutic because it offers a different perspective than the one you have with your hardware wired the way it is, because trauma shapes the brain. It wires the brain a certain way, and it makes it specialize in self-preservation, and it perceives everything as a threat. There's something called negativity bias, and it helped our species survive. We experience something stressful, traumatic. We remember it because we may not get enough. If we survive, let's say, like an attack by a predator, it's going to traumatize us. Our life was nearly extinguished, but we learn from the experience so that it's not going to happen again, or we're not going to put ourselves in a vulnerable position where it can happen again. Like traveling at nighttime in the forest is fucking stupid, but if you did it and you almost got killed by a predator, you're going to know better.
Yeah.
So negativity bias, there's a reason for it. It helped us survive as a species, just like the programming in us that, for most people, forces us to eventually socialize. There's more introverted people. Perhaps, of course, there's the way humans are, way everything is. It seems like there's a bit of a palabra where most people fit within what we deem as normal. And then there's outliers, of course, but seems like most of us have this programming in us for family, to be with others, to not be alone. Being alone causes us stress over time, and I think that's a survival thing, because we are not apex predators. We are weak as individuals, so if we are exiled, outcast from a social group, we feel stressed, and that stress forces us to change our behavior, to adjust, to try to fit back in with the group. Forces us to conform and behave. At least it worked with smaller communities. It's a bit different now, but it actually is very different. But where am I going with this? The main character goes through transformation through this having psychedelics, and I'm just getting to the really juicy part, because there's a lady he meets in the very beginning who's a widow, and that's all I'm going to say about that. But she's the one facilitating this trip, and she's a gifted facilitator, we'll say. And he finally sees her for the first time without all the trauma, and he can actually see how beautiful she is, and it's just like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. But looking at the world through a different lens. When I went through, an example would be like when I went through indoctrination, and I was basically imprisoned for a month in the military. Every day it's getting yelled at, bullshit in Saint-Jean, Quebec. When I finally had my first weekend of freedom, the world was so beautiful. The light so bright. Outside was so warm. Squirrels even fascinated me. Trees, boundless beauty. And that was because I just endured a lot of suffering. And so it created a new perspective. Wearing dry civilian clothes, because I was always wet, wearing the fatigues during the training, and always sleep deprived, and being able to sleep in a little bit. And, just it created gratitude, because I had all this suffering. But there is a way to have gratitude and appreciation without having to endure all that suffering. You create that perspective. It works, but gratitude is something that can be practiced, and it requires us to be present in the moment. And how the hell are people present when they're crippled? Most people are crippled by traumas of the past, or worried about the future. Most people are not present enough to see the beauty that surrounds them, because they're covered. Everything they're seeing is covered in a haze, or their body is hurting, overstimulated, fatigued. And all that is distracting to the mind. But when you finally are able to, like, when you have balance within yourself, you can be present, let go of the past, let go of the future, and just focus here and now, then you can truly have gratitude. And take it a step further, like, I don't know if meditation is needed to center yourself to have gratitude. I find that I don't need to meditate now that I don't revisit the past often and I don't worry about the future. I don't meditate, and yet I'm able to have gratitude and be present. I'm able to center my mind without much effort because I have eliminated most inputs. I'm still working on a few, which sometimes distract me, which causes me a bit of frustration. So there are a few things, but when I do everything I can for those few things, then, and the ball is in the other court, then I'm like, there is nothing for me to worry about, and then I can be present. And I don't know if meditation is a skill that, or a practice that people do, be able to pull themselves centered to have gratitude. Because I don't see sitting there upright with eyes closed as, I don't get it. I think it's stupid.
Yeah, in terms of the positioning, yeah, I would assume as long as one is like breathing clearly, and like if somebody's lying down, it might be too easy to fall asleep, and they just have to sort of sit up straight to like have a good lung capacity and get like a lot of oxygen and focus on the breathing. But then there's no reason to have a very specific position, is what I feel.
Yeah,
I just
sitting hurts me.
I think I usually just I sit on the couch like in comfortably, and then maybe like dip my head forward a bit, and that's like a fairly comfortable position to just like attempt like meditation.
Yeah, but it's like you're forcing meditation. I find now it's like a forced clearing of the head because people have unresolved trauma and people have 10,000 things to worry about, or 100 things. What was this, like a 99 problems, but a bitch ain't one? I don't know. That just came to my mind.
You clear all thought, and that's the one remaining thought. Just
Yeah,
that one thing.
but
Yeah, I'm
you know,
doing
go for
there's
it.
there's a just randomly I'm starting tomorrow. I'm doing like I think it's a 30-day, 1 minute a day meditation challenge, which seems pretty strange, but I think I'll try to stick with it. Maybe like just pick a quick time each day and just try to get into like, clear my mind and be mindful and try to like as deeply experience that as possible for like 1 minute a day and just see where I can get with that. Maybe do like a 1 minute breathing exercise or something.
Yeah, I get the importance of consistency to habit form, but a minute, I don't know if you're going to get gains out of a minute.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah, I
know
think
what
it's
you're.
just like it's like the easiest thing to commit to. And then
Well,
maybe by the end of it, I'll be doing like 10 minutes or something, but at least 1 minute is hard to like not do it at some point.
something from the book that I really liked. Instead of saying grace, and having appreciation to some entity that we've created in our mind, as a civilization, religion is created and made up. Frankly, we created a god to explain the unknown, but the gods of Christianity or the other religions that dislike mistakes and punish people for not listening, fuck them. I don't need to give thanks to that God. And really, what the book talks about is not giving thanks to an entity in our mind, but being present. Having gratitude is being present in the moment. And so when you eat, it could be your first meal. Do it breakfast. When you have breakfast, clear distractions, no phone or that shit, no talking, and actually savor the first bite. You take it, you smell it, put it in your mouth, you move it around your mouth, you taste everything, you chew it until it's completely gone. Taste it then, swallow it then. That's about a minute to 2 minutes if you do it slowly enough. And actually having gratitude for the food that you're having, for the taste, the sensations. So that's how the people in this paradise give thanks for their food. Even with a big family with a bunch of kids, everybody's completely silent. They do the first bite, and then when it's done, that's it. The gratitude piece is over, and then they all talk and have a good meal. But if you want just a minute, I would say that mindfulness and gratitude by taking time, chew your food, and having appreciation for that food in the morning would be the best minute you spend for yourself in the day. Instead of just being like setting a fucking timer and lying on the couch or sitting down and trying to clear your head and forcing thoughts out and calming your monkey mind or whatever Buddy puts it in one of the books I've read. I would say that the best minute would be to start your meal like that. I've done it this morning, man. It was fucking awesome.
Yeah. Do you have a standard foods you eat for breakfast at a typical time?
Oh yeah. I do chia seeds expanded in coconut milk, hemp seed. That gets to a nice texture. Sometimes I overdo it. I have a little bit too much. I'll throw in some almond butter, a tiny bit of honey, mix it around. Frozen mixed berries from Costco, the Tri Blend, the strawberries, raspberries, blackberries. Actually, I think there's blueberries too, so there's 4. And those strawberries, it's so cold, makes it so that we can't taste how sweet something really is. Like it kind of dulls the sweetness. I don't know if it's because it freezes the taste buds or what, but so like I put that in, and then I'll throw in some almond milk, but like pure almond milk, just almonds, filtered almonds, and water. None of that canola oil bullshit and the gums and the fortification, all that stuff. Garbage. Shouldn't be sold. I do Elmhurst. I pay $10 for a thing. Fuck. Honestly, I'd rather spend that than drink poison, which increases inflammation at the end of the day. So I put that on. I'm just adding in some, what are they called? Pecans. I crush a bunch of pecans because they're high in fat, but also really flavorful, and sometimes some vanilla. And that's my meal every day. And I'm telling you, man, I did this, and I guess it's because I actually let the frozen fruit thaw a little bit and defrost in my mouth. But the flavor of the strawberry, holy shit. Unreal. Just made it pop.
Huh.
Yeah, the meal was more enjoyable overall. And just if you eat slower in general, you're more satiated. I mean, there's a whole bunch of reasons. This is not coming to the surface of my mind.
Yeah.
Can't recall.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I think too, eating faster can create more gas, but definitely like feeling of fullness. You could overeat if you eat too fast because your gut brain like communication needs a little bit of time. So you have leptin that needs to be produced when you're satiated. And so just a little bit of time is required, but if you're stuffing your face too fast, you're going to end up bloated and unwell. But yeah, no, excellent book. Excellent book. I find that over the last 2 years, I've read everything that I needed to read, and the books just fall into my lap. I'm exposed to countless books, but I looked at this one. It was my partner's. I needed a book to go to the beach. I forgot my other one here that I was working on, Guns, Germs, and Steel. And I raided her archived library, went through 2 bins, went through a bunch of books, saw this book, saw Huxley, and I'm just like, done. Closed off everything. I'm like, I'm grabbing this. The book is ancient. It smells like an old library. The pages are falling out. It is a fucking worth its weight in gold and then some.
I wonder how many other books out there are like us, maybe sci-fi fantasy, but they like the main character accurately does something like meditation. Like basically by reading the story and watching what the main character does, you're getting delivered some kind of like best practice knowledge in whatever, mindfulness or something.
Yeah, I'm sure there's lots of books. I mean, this book is pretty much, it's only fiction in that the island itself doesn't exist, but Buddhism and everything else, Shiva, all the god of destruction, creation. There's enough Indian Uber drivers that have like the Shiva monument. I don't know if I'm saying it right,
Oh yeah.
but
Yeah.
like I realize, yeah, it's tied to India, but I'm sure Buddhism expands way beyond that. And now I'm gonna start like exploring it. It's interesting because did I talk to you last time about me putting my comment into ChatGPT and how it created my North Star statement? I think I did, yeah. About
Yeah, maybe
building
one of the
wealth.
times I think.
But it looked at Buddhism and how suffering arises from attachment, and that simplicity and mindfulness will free our minds or just free us. It pulled that from Buddhism, and in Stoicism it said that wealth is neutral, but the obsession of it captures or imprisons the mind. And it basically took these 2 chunks from these. What word am I looking for?
Like theories or something.
Yeah, theories, I guess, is, for lack of a better term. I don't know what I would call them. Not religions or idealisms. I don't know what to call them. But it took that. It created my North Star statement about my view of wealth in life and what my priorities are. But I never once mentioned Buddhism, like in any of my interactions with ChatGPT over the last 2 years, or a year and a bit. Like it's just kind of like tied to it, but I seem to be very much aligned with the teachings.
Yeah, something about like Buddhism is like that. It's very like fundamental and not like pushy, but it has so many like interesting areas. I feel a little bit like the formal teaching of Buddhism is too like technical or something, or like too prescribed, but the general vibes of it, just from like in passing, knowing some stuff about it, like in passing, it seems like quite a foundational thing that existed quite early on and made some good like progress in terms of defining what people need or something. I don't know.
Well, yeah, and it's like I'm not just gonna start reading this and be like following everything that it says. I just realized that the way I think aligns with Buddhism. And the way I think is basically just sort of the summation of everything I've learned, discovering myself since, quitting my career, but evolution, how we developed as a species, religion, etc. And
Hmm.
experiencing North America for what it is, also seeing other parts of the world too, but seeing North America for what it is, my awareness of, the greed that drives people here, how transactional everybody is, civilization, and how it's impacted us as individuals. Yes, it's the safest it's ever been because of the rule of law since the agricultural revolution. But I'm fascinated with how we used to be before civilization. Yes, the production of food using domesticated plants and animals, which is a fascinating, like the history there is fascinating, and that's from guns, germs, and steel. Like just how kind of, from what I'm getting is everything stemmed from the Fertile Crescent. That's where the most domesticatable plants and animals were, and everything sort of just branched out from there. And these like this domestic package sort of was brought to different countries and adopted. So a lot of the foods that we're eating today, most of the foods that we're eating today did not come from North America. North America didn't have any domesticatable large animals after the settlers came and wiped out all the megafauna. So it's like, but the way things panned out in history is because of the food and what was available, and easy food, may cause population booms, and the population booms led to increased technology and germs and structure. So all that's interesting, but with that complexity and came power grabs, eventually imperialism for resource grabs, and then a whole fucking history of trauma. People hurting people. So I would say that civilization overall has been bad for our species. For the health of our species, I would say. You could argue that.
It is interesting to think about, like if we're all just a bunch of cats, like we sort of eat food and we don't have like ambition beyond just kind of chilling, and there wouldn't be like technological progress or something like that. It's just interesting to think about, like I guess I associate sort of like, if we're all sort of reaching, like we all feel very grateful and enlightened and mindful, and we don't see the need to like achieve any specific thing technologically or like in our lives. Just sort of, we're just like pleased with the basic premise of existing. Then I sort of associate that with like people just kind of like sitting around, not needing to like do anything to convince themselves they've done something, just sort of like being pleased. But I don't think that's bad. I think it's just very fascinating to think like if we could still be like in a farming agricultural era where, let's say, like most of the world is just divided up as farms and people are just kind of like growing crops, like doing the amount of labor that is needed to efficiently grow food for themselves and their tribes or whatever, and people just kind of like sharing or whatever. And like I wonder about, could we, like, if we just dumped everything into like, how does everyone just practice like feeling as good as possible all the time while we just in that like do the maintenance of growing the food that we need to survive? I wonder, can we like reach some new height of realization? Like, can we build on the technology of Buddhism, for example, or something like that, and just the theory of it or something? And does that get us farther than any technological advancement?
Well, that's what they did in Pella. And they have agriculture and they grow, but they're also highly intelligent. Their whole school system is completely different than what we do. And even the author's description or belief on how like math should be taught. Math is right now taught, like we're taught tricks and formulas.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe if we get advanced enough, we'll understand proofs and theorems. They start backwards. They start with proofs and theorems and go from there so that there's an actual fundamental understanding of how math works. I'm just like, Jesus, this this guy is so advanced. I don't know how much I'm missing. I don't know how much I'm missing because I barely understand 60% of what he's writing. Like, there's a lot of fancy terms. And what I'm picking up on, I'm open-minded enough and I have enough education and enough experience to know, like, this is amazing. Way ahead of his time. Like, again, book was made in, like, what, 1960 something? 1960. It was, like, mind-blowing. If I had even more intelligence, and I'm just wondering how much I'm missing. This guy must have been next level genius / insane. Like, he was doing the fucking psychedelic trips to get to this point. He must have been truly free. And
What do you know about him? Like, he was an author. Was that his profession the whole time? Like, did he write several other books and that's how he made a living?
Yeah, he wrote several books, but I don't know enough about him.
Mm.
He was born late 1800s, and
It'd be a cool person to read a biography about.
Well, he's around for both of the world wars, so it's I don't know if he went and served in the war or what is going on with him, but like what he's writing about, he's talking about World War II, Hitler. He was around for it because the way he was describing what he was seeing, but like through the main character's eyes. But everything he was describing was extremely relevant to like that time. The Nazi soldiers and how they marched, and it's just it's damn good, I'm telling you. But the ideal, like he created the ideal society, and they are highly intelligent, they have agriculture, they are happy, there are gods, but the children are taught at a young age that the gods are created by us, not to serve us, but they ultimately are controlled by us. And this is like shown by like how they create these beautiful scarecrows, and the children's duties is to go out there and to like pull the strings of the scarecrow to make them dance. But one scarecrow is like one of their gods, and the other scarecrow is another of their gods, but like created in scarecrow form. They're very like beautifully dressed, and they look good, and the kids are having a blast. And what they're taught is we humans create these entities, and we ultimately pull the strings. It's like, holy fuck. Oh, amazing. Everything, like, even with like group meditation, they have like this massive oil painting. Because that civilization produced a few geniuses. One of them was in the form of an artist, and he created this massive oil painting. And the author goes on to describe like just how timeless this is, how when you're meditating, just how can't even put it to words. And anyway, it's a great idea. It's this massive piece of oil painting of a beautiful landscape with its clouds, sort of like the way the sun's coming through. It's like half of it's dark and half of the landscape is light. It's of mountains, of valleys, of rivers, and there is like a little settlement there, very, very small, but compared to the rest of the painting, like nature is so vast, and just like having that as a centerpiece to like meditate to the way he goes in to describe the painting, like it's just, yeah, I'm not doing any justice. I might have to reread it.
That general concept though of like the contrast between the small settlement and like the magnitude of nature, that overall style is something that really appealed to me. Like a while ago I was doing like little pixel art, and I really enjoyed making like a large, you know, like a large cliff or like a vista or like a mountain in pixel art, and then like making a very tiny pixel character, like, you know, use like 2 pixels for like the character and just make it like a red line or something, and then but like do enough that it's clear like that's someone like hiking on a mountain or something, and then just the rest of the drawing is like not civil, like maybe a building or some kind of mountain or something like that. But I really liked the like a tiny character amidst like a vast landscape is a very, somehow for some reason that's very pleasing to think about.
Hmm. The word humbling comes to mind as well, but it's
Yeah, and the another image that comes to mind is like if you thought of like a massive a massive like city-sized spaceship in the space in the future, and like the side of the spaceship is like a bunch of layers of like almost buildings or something like that, and you could sort of have like one character sitting, maybe they're in kind of a spacesuit or there's some kind of glass like around the spaceship such that they're just like sitting there on some kind of ledge. But it something about that is like some person in the future sitting perched like on a balcony style thing with like many layers of cities behind them, like above them and below them, like uh as part of this like spaceship colony in space. That to me feels very like it's kind of beautiful because it's like that one person has like a brain and a mind, but they're so far from what we are today or something, but they're still just like a person chilling. Maybe their phone is there, or maybe they're just like uh eating something or something like that. I really like that, like almost like meditating, like try to put yourself in the mind of like in front of you is like just some kind of random space view, and then there's all these layers of like basically like cities smashed together like above each other like on this ship or something like that. It's very fun to think about stuff like that.
I mean that would be a beautiful piece of art right there too. Yeah, but I don't know if we're
And
going to
the
be
mm,
colonizing other planets. I think we're getting stupider as a species, frankly.
yeah. Yeah.
Our IQ, I think our IQ is dropping. I think we're
Yeah,
becoming
it
too
does.
simple.
Yeah. It does
And
seem like there's various things that can like wipe out a humanity. And I feel like the one that this humanity didn't see coming was like the internet putting information at our fingertips, but then converting it all into like nonsense and lies, and then injecting it like everywhere, and just like society grinding to a halt because no one can agree on a basic fact, and they're all like too hurried and distracted and concerned for their own safety to like cooperate at all. And that causes like just a falling apart of like the basics of society or something.
yeah, we have access to all the information, and yet we don't know what's true anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Mhm.
Yep. I never thought about that, but I was thinking of Idiocracy, the movie, where
Yeah, I
just like
remember watching that. Very
stupid
true.
people,
Yeah, very
yeah,
true movie.
low IQ people are the ones that like mass produce, they breed, and yet the more intelligent
Mhm.
individuals are like, the economy isn't good, kids expensive, they calculate risk, and they're like, kids are just fucking not worth it, like,
Yeah.
and then they just don't have many kids, but then the poor people are, and so it's like, and I'm not saying just because you're poor you have a lower IQ, but there's less opportunity, and I don't care about what all these fucking motivational people are saying. Like you can
Mhm.
achieve anything. Like no, if your hand is dealt and it's pure shit, and you're exposed to trauma, and you're raped, and you're fucking beaten down, you're good luck trying to get anywhere. Like, if your environment is nothing but chaos, that shapes everything. You're not going to be successful unless you get away from that environment, and there's no options for the poor. Not really.
I sometimes one thing that I wonder about is like all that stuff you just mentioned, all that like chaos of like uncivilized like humanity or something like that. Uh, I wonder if like is the best we can do like move all that stuff to certain areas, and then like the only way we can create something that is not just like chaos is by constructing like a bubble almost, and then like by definition like the wealthy people or the well-off people like live inside the bubble, and that bubble is only like free of those things because we've pushed those things like outside the bubble. And so I kind of wonder like, is the world just like pockets of privilege and opportunity with like all the stuff that would have been inside those bubbles like pushed out to the fringes, and therefore it's like worse outside?
Yes.
Or is there some way, yeah, like I wonder like it doesn't sometimes it appears like there is not a way to lift all boats, like right, you can't just like bring up the baseline everywhere. You just have to like push out the bad stuff to collected regions. And that's not it's interesting because that doesn't like, it just makes stuff better in like certain regions and then makes stuff worse in others, and then the people inside the good regions kind of believe that it's better everywhere because you can like restrict their media and they don't really know about the bad places or something. And it's interesting to feel like, are we just shuffling around the problems, not really solving them in terms of the world?
Yeah, I think just people are too greedy, and companies are too
Mhm.
greedy. They're not even paying livable wages, at least
Mhm.
wages that don't make sense in the areas like Toronto, for instance. Like, come on.
Mhm.
Like, you need to have 150K here to have a livable wage. Or not even, you need more than that because you're like trying to afford a home. But then the issues in Toronto are shaped by policy. Really, immigrants are brought to they always gravitate towards the city center.
Mhm.
And no, the government needs to like incentivize them to and create opportunities for them to be outside the city. And they come to the city to seek work and opportunity. In the city here, Toronto,
Mhm.
I don't know too much about Vancouver, but Toronto fucking can't handle the infrastructure. Like, it's
Mhm.
20 years behind. The worst
Yeah, it
traffic
would be
flow.
nice to expand, like, put it, yeah, encouraging people to get somehow out of the city or expanding the city in like a sustainable way. Toronto, yeah, is just sort of like this dense like circle with like a bunch of highways pouring into it. I feel there isn't like a real sensible way to like extend that city so that it becomes like a larger space for more people. It sort of just causes like everyone's commuting to a tiny downtown core from like massive sprawling suburbs. And there's not, it would be nice to like build a couple Toronto like cities in the area and then connect them with like light rail, and then you've got something that can sustain like more jobs and whatever offices and businesses and stuff.
And also follow the examples of other areas. So, like, I think Manhattan has like um, a toll if you want to use any of the roads in the Manhattan area. You got to pay
Mm.
when you're in certain time frames, and it's brought down traffic considerably. Toronto needs to
And they're
do something like
almost
that.
yeah, New York is about to do free buses. They're having pushback on that, but that would be interesting if
Yeah,
you
why
just
aren't
could get
buses
free,
free?
yeah, free bus and
Why?
tax on cars, yeah.
Why aren't buses free? We pay enough
Yeah,
taxes,
exactly.
and the
And in
tax
yeah,
system. Sorry,
it's
the
funny,
bus
yeah.
system is fucking terrible as it is. But
Mhm.
I mean, right now we're paying for that terrible service. If it was free, it would incentivize people to travel to work, but to pay to go to work. So you're not
Yeah.
only are you spending money, but you're also spending time to go work 7 to 8 hours a day. It's a fucking bad deal through and through. It really
Yeah.
is. I could see bad deals now. I could smell them. No, but we're gonna get dumber as a people. At least in North America, we're not investing in education properly. It's only for the select few that get to go, but they got to pay obscene amounts of money. Why is post-secondary education? Why are there costs? Not only do you have to
Yeah.
have high marks, but you got to pay. I mean, this didn't make sense to me back when I graduated high school in 2007. I was like RMC or Queens, and Queens wanted me to write an essay to pay them money, even though I had outstanding marks. I was like second in the high school, next to this 25-year-old guy. I don't know why he was there. I'm like, why do I need to write an
Yeah.
essay to pay you money to tell you I'm good enough to go to your school? Fuck yourself. And I went to RMC. And so
Yeah.
it just, that just doesn't make any sense. The
Mm.
Nordic, like northern countries seem to have it. Like there's socialism. I like that. They're paying for it and they get the benefits, but we're paying the taxes and we're not getting the benefits. Where's the tax money going if Ford cut healthcare? I went
Mhm.
into the hospital. I was there for like 8 hours, suffering because of like severe IBS and like gallbladder pain. It's 8 hours. Like, in what world does that
Yeah.
make any sense? Like,
Mhm.
I saw people there crying because they're in so much pain. I had to ask 3 times for pain medication because they kept fucking forgetting. I was like, the healthcare. What am I paying for? Free healthcare. I'd
Yeah.
rather pay for healthcare and get it. What is my time worth? That 8 hours, man. I'm not getting back. I'd rather pay $800 to be looked at immediately than wait 8 hours.
Yeah, and it is strange. Like it's like 7 years to become a doctor and super expensive, and they should really make some kind of like general practitioner degree that you can get in like 3 or 4 years. Uh, without
Sure.
like just yeah, like an undergrad, like general practitioner degree, 4 years after high school, and then you just have the ability to like tell people approximately what's wrong and refer some case, like do sort of triage to like maybe like more
Well, like,
experienced doctors or
that's what
something.
they
Yeah.
fucking do. I know what my
Mm.
issues are better than the doctors do. I do my own research. And they,
Mhm.
fuck, they barely get it right. I went to a dermatologist. I'm like, here's my situation. I fixed my gut biome. I working with a naturopath. I'm avoiding inflammatory foods. I got a food panel. I know that I have 29, actually 30 food intolerances I'm avoiding. Because he looked at my face, he's like, wow, your rosacea is like barely anything there. And I'm like, you should have seen it a year ago. I was Red Lobster, man. Like it was bad. I'm like, I need to redose on this medication because it's working. It's shrinking the capillaries. And he prescribed me this other expensive medication. Didn't listen to anything I said. It's like, I have to use this one stuff daily. And his prescription did not reflect anything that I told him. He's like, use the stuff that works once a week and then use this expensive stuff once a week. I'm like, well, I told you if I don't use this stuff nightly, the mites come back and they basically cause a bunch of pimples. Like I need to actually have the mites addressed, which might be through laser therapy. But the guy just didn't fucking listen. This is a dermatologist, this is a specialist. I go to the GP and I'm just like a fucking wiener on a conveyor belt going through the processor. 15 minutes, one item, that's it. I'm like, took me a month to get this fucking appointment. What do you mean I only get one item for 15 minutes? Sorry, it was a 15-minute appointment. Yeah, but I asked for two and they wouldn't give it to me. They're like, no, this is just one issue at a time. And it was like, this is fucking bullshit. It's all bull. It's just money. It's just a money grinder. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Because every time I come in, they get paid. They only want to deal with one issue. I was like, how the fuck? You're my family doctor, which took me a year to get, by the way. I need to deal with like huge, this is like fucking huge issues. I can't find the word I'm looking for that are all interconnected, and I need like a physician statement to capture the severity of my injuries from my service. And he's made me like rebook 3 times because his fucking staff were incompetent. And I'm just like, this is the medical system. I was like, this is insane. What am I paying for? Where
I
are
wonder,
our investments going?
I've never heard of this, but maybe there's like you you could like travel to another country and just like pay out of pocket to see their doctors. Because I've heard that, like, for example, like people that are like they'll have heart problems and be in and out of doctors in Canada and be getting nowhere, and then they'll go on vacation, coincidentally have like a heart attack on vacation, see a hospital, and they'll get like routed right to surgery, fixed up, and then like all their problems are solved. And like it was sort of a demonstration of like other countries have it figured out and they'll just get you what you need, but Canada will like bounce you around. But I wonder, like, is there a country that just has like known good services for like the kind of things that you want addressed, and then if you just like went there and just like, I don't know what the deal is. I don't know if you can just go to a hospital or pay or like get some kind of temporary insurance in another country and then just like go through their system and see if you can get a better result. I wonder if people are doing that, or like if it's
Sure.
too, maybe it's like, I assume that it's affordable in other countries to just like pay out of pocket for some, but I don't know actually. Maybe it's expensive or something.
Yeah, well, like I know hair transplants are more affordable in other countries, but then again, I don't know if you get the same quality of care. I don't know if they're
Mhm.
doing their job right, but like in Canada, they're charging 25K, 30K for like two
Mhm.
treatments. If you
Yeah.
have like significant hair loss, like it's a lot of money. But I'm like, that's a significant chunk of change. And I'm like, the doctors are barely responsive to inquiries and like
Mhm.
treatments. So it's like they haven't even got your money, your potential customer, and they don't even seem that interested in supporting. So this whole talk about like the main argument is in Canada you get like follow-on care, quality care that you don't get in other countries. And like, yeah, I'm not seeing that.
Mhm.
So yeah, regarding your other point, like I don't know, maybe
Yeah,
I'm
it'd be
starting to wonder
interesting
about.
to, if there's like a good article about it. I like a good magazine with like an article about something like that, and just they just go into detail or investigate it, like investigative journalism about a certain issue.
Yeah, like I think free healthcare could work if it was funded properly.
Hmm.
It's not funded properly. Like, why is the hospital down the street from where I'm at funded by a bunch of millionaires? Why do people need to make donations to keep a fucking hospital going? Why is that entire half of that hospital named after some rich person?
Right.
Why? Where's the government funding? Government should be fucking doing this, not these rich people. Why are these rich people donating for our health?
Yeah.
Doesn't make any fucking sense.
For the tax breaks, I imagine.
I'm paying enough taxes. What the fucker? Why do I need to look at these happy rich people on the fucking wall as I'm going through the triage room? I don't get it.
Yeah.
It's just better to. So sometimes we get sick, but prevention is the best medicine at the end of the day. Wash your fucking hands often. Wash the surface of your phone. Have alcohol, like if 75% alcohol spray. Spray surfaces down, especially where there's a lot of contact. Clean your space. Houses are artificially created structures that don't have a lot of good airflow. Like we drop food and the land doesn't absorb it because there's a fucking floor there. We have to clean the shit out of our places. We need to take care of our bodies and move. Movement is medicine. We need to eat super healthy, which is also like navigating a fucking labyrinth of options because especially in the States, oh my god. But North America is bad in general. And I know this, like I see with my family buys, and sugar has floated to the surface of most of the processed goods. And there's canola oil or seed oil and like almost everything processed. Vegan isn't better for you. Vegan is highly processed and it has sunflower oil and almost everything. Fucking not good for you. It's like there's things that we can do, and we should do everything we possibly can to not get sick. But ultimately, environment is the most important thing, and I just think North America is toxic.
Yeah, it could be
Pollution,
true.
yeah, no, the pollution, the culture, the fucking greed. It's just a breeding ground. You know, sure,
Yeah.
invest your money here. Let the money grow. Everybody's fucking money hungry. Everybody's gonna keep growing and keep slaving away. The system is set up. You know, I wonder. Yeah, sure, maybe the rich people have their mansion here, but maybe they spend most of their time outside of Canada. Seriously,
Right.
maybe
Yeah.
because why be in an area where everything is fucking poison? Why not go to Costa Rica or somewhere else, like Thailand or whatever? Yeah, you gotta drink bottled water, but fucking good people there. But it's like,
Yeah.
why be in North America if you don't need to be?
Mhm.
I think if you're gonna do anything, we're gonna do anything for our health. We don't have to be at the mercy of the healthcare system. We change our environment and just leave.
Yeah.
But attachment keeps most people here. Family, friends, community. I'm doing bunny ears there.
Yeah, we're trying to decide like if for a while it instinctively made sense to me to like come back to Canada or to take advantage of like what little like free healthcare could bring me. But increasingly I hear, like the issues in Toronto and stuff and we're starting like me and my wife thinking maybe we just live in the Seattle, Redmond, like sort of Washington area and hopefully we have some chance at like citizenship in America. And then the big issue is like healthcare expenses down the road. But we're sort of feeling like if we can make things work in like Seattle, Redmond area, then that could be like a lifelong thing. And maybe we end up back in Canada, like in retirement. But I'm not sure I have like faith in the Canadian systems to like be better than like chancing it in America.
Well, at least in the States, you can own your own home. Good luck trying to do that in Canada.
Hmm.
I hear that over 50% of the population, 50, own their home outright. You actually can own your home in the States. Fuck, I nearly bought a house cash there. I only took advantage of the loan because it was part of the deal.
Hmm. Right.
It was like 4% fixed forever, which is better than what's in Canada right now. But then there's all these other fees they don't fucking talk about. But like you can actually buy a house and live in a house in the States. And that's what people work for. It's a slave away to bring down the mortgage at the end of the day. That's the biggest expense.
Hmm.
People are working their entire life and some of these mortgages are just not payable. Let's say if a person, the maximum money that they're ever going to make in their life is $1 million, and their home is worth 1.5 somehow, you're never going to pay for
Right.
that $1.5 million home. But no, this is my family home. It's Scarborough suburb, probably worth 1.3. All the equity's gone. Hold out for renovations. Stupidly done. Not naming names, but mistakes are made. Never pay a contractor up front 100%. It's the fucking dumbest thing you could ever do in your entire life. Never do it. Doesn't matter who they are. Never fucking do it. Because they can take it and run. And anyway, all the equity's been pulled out of the house. And family is paying for a mortgage they cannot afford, that they'll never pay off in their entire life. Like they just won't be able to do it. They will have to pass that mortgage on to whoever inherits the house. It's crazy. The house should only be worth, in my mind, $250K, and it's going for $1 million more. It's not even a good suburb.
Right.
I mean, it's not bad. It's peaceful, but that should be, in this day and age, with how much land is in Canada, that should be a fucking given, not like a privilege to have your own detached home in your own space. I don't get it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good note to end on. I guess that like almost like a right should be a place to live, not something we need to work our whole life for. That seems like one of the core things that's a bit backwards. But yeah, good. We share a lot of similar, I guess we'd call it like a little bit of pessimistic views of the world, but the pessimism is just the truth today. As pessimistic as we can be, it's just accurate.
Well, we see North America for what it is. I'm sure there's good pockets. I'm sure there's good communities. We just need to discover them. Yeah,
Yeah.
we have a healthy amount of pessimism, cynicism, whatever. I see the forest for the trees, and like I have theories on what would be better for us. Like I've been terribly sick. I almost died, and I've been an advocate for my own health, and I have enough knowledge, just enough knowledge to be dangerous, to know what I'm talking about, to fight with specialists and whatever else. And yeah, I see it for what it is. And I think the most important thing we have is our health, and that we have to take care of ourselves. The body requires constant work. It's interesting. The final thing I'll say is civilization has made everything too easy. Like physically, drive to work, sit down at a desk job, yada yada, come back, sit down on your couch, watch your TV. We're too sedentary. And, our muscles evolved over 7 million years. And whatever species we stem from that, but Homo sapiens, 7 million years, we evolved to move. And yet civilization takes away the need to move. And so it's like you have to create habits and force yourself to be active, to have to be healthy. And otherwise the system will take advantage of you. You'll get sick, you'll get diseases, and you'll be at the mercy of a system that is indifferent and doesn't care about you.
Yeah.
And as like the most important agency you have comes from your health and well-being. The only thing that matters when you're sick is feeling better again. When you're in terrible pain, the only thing I can think about is like the only thing I focus on is like, fuck. Yes, the pain is all consumed, but I wish I was better. I have gratitude for the days where I felt better. Anyway, buddy, we're over time, so I'll catch you later.
Yeah, see you later.
Bye then.
Bye.